Hey guys, welcome back to FixItPhillip. Thanks for watching. Today we have an 05 Ford Escape. It's a 3.0 V6 and has a misfire issue. So this misfire is in the back by the firewall underneath the intake manifold. So we're gonna remove the intake and see what's going on. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. All right, so let me show you how rough this thing runs. Let's see. So this one you have cylinder 1, 2, 3 in the back, and cylinder 4, 5, 6 in the front. So I can barely reach the coil connector here for this far end coil, which is number 3. Watch, if I unplug it, it doesn't make a difference at all. That's unplugged. And that's plugged. So these, here's number 4. There's a difference. 5 makes a difference. 6 makes a difference. So we're gonna take off the intake manifold and see what's going on in the back. So this job of taking off the intake pretty much consists of a bunch of 8mm and 10mm bolts. I'm gonna take off this 8mm bolt here for this cover. One here. This intake boot, 8mm. This green little tab, you push it over to the side and it comes right up. So you just lift up, push it over a little bit and it releases. Disconnect the mass airflow sensor. Take off this air duct. Idle air control valve connector. Throttle position sensor. Got another vacuum line here with another green tab. You just push it over. Evap purge solenoid connector. You got this harness here. You just pop it off the intake there. There's another one on the bottom. Just push those to the side so it's not connected to the intake. Then just use some pliers, squeeze these clamps, and take off these vacuum lines. This is the one to the brake booster. We got another one back here, little vacuum elbow. And we can disconnect the bracket here for the throttle cable. This is the cable for the cruise control. If you just push it over this way, it slides right out. And this one comes right out too. Another bracket here. We can just push this over to the side, get out of the way, and put these bolts back here so you know where they go. Whoops. We got an EGR vacuum line. A couple vacuum lines going to the evap purge solenoid. Then we got 2 10mm bolts here holding the evap purge solenoid and this little wire loom here. We'll take those off. Well, this one's a 10. think the back one might be at 8. Push that off to the side. Then we have two 10mm here for the Egr valve. There is a little gasket in here, so when you take it off, be careful it doesn't fall down and you don't lose it. Here's that middle gasket. Now there are some coolant lines going to the throttle body. You can either disconnect those, or you can actually take off these 4 10mm bolts to the throttle body and hang that off to the side so you don't lose any coolant. So I'm just going to do it that way. You can do it however way you want. One more vacuum hose right here. Yeah. Okay, now everything's disconnected. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 8mm bolts here that hold the intake on, and 5, 6, 7, 8 total. Okay, this should come right out. There's a 3 back coils, cylinder 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna check out this coil, see if it's bad. I'm gonna pull out the spark plugs too and see how they look. One thing I like to do is, since you can't access this here in the back without taking off the intake, if you have a suspected bad coil in the back and you know the front ones are good, you can always take off the front ones, put them in the back, put the back ones in the front, fire it up once you put it all back together, and see if that misfire transfers to the front, or you can actually unplug it and test it. This one, even though it has a misfire, doesn't show a specific code for misfire or even a random misfire at all. So like I said, I suspect this, but we won't know for sure until we do our process of elimination. Make sure you keep your coils in order so you know where they came out from. And number 3, the one that I disconnected earlier, I don't see any obvious arcing or anything like that on the side of the boot, but still could be bad. Okay, so here's number 3 spark plug. It's just a regular 5/8 spark plug socket. Not too bad. It definitely smells like fuel. They're not the best plugs in the world, but they're not that worn. All right, well, let's see how the front spark plugs look. These actually look a lot better in the front than they do the rear. Still good. That's not too bad. Not too bad. So what I'm going to do is put these 3 front spark plugs in the rear because they still look okay. And we didn't have any misfire problems in the front, so. Okay. So front coil from this cylinder here, number 6. I'm going to put it on cylinder 3. Cylinder number 5, I'm going to put on number 2. Number 4, I'm going to put on number 1. And then cylinder 3 coil we'll save for cylinder number 6. All right, so at this point we haven't changed any parts. We just transferred from front to back for our process of elimination. So just gonna wipe down the mating surface here to put the upper intake back on. Make sure you don't drop anything down in these holes. The actual O-rings here look like they've been replaced before. They look good still. So I'm just gonna wipe them down. Put it back on. All right, there it is. So if it is a coil or spark plug issue, we should have the problem in the front now. So I'm just gonna put the intake duct back on and connect the mass airflow sensor. All right, just make sure everything's connected, everything's back together. Looks good to me. So I'm gonna fire it up, see if the cylinder misfire goes to the front. Okay, so number 3 coil is now here at number 6. Let's see. no change. So let's change out this coil here. I have a couple extra coils just from vehicles in the past. Let's put in one of those coils. Okay, different coil. Okay, this one's reacting now. This one actually is only reacting somewhat. So the major misfire is gone, which is this one. Let's try replacing this one also and see what happens. Like I said, coils are common on these. Or it could just be a bad plug too. Definitely sparking. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so now number 6 is firing. And I changed out number 4 also, which maybe was bad, but just not as bad. Now it's smooth. So there you have it, but it's running good now. So I'm just gonna get this all buttoned up and we'll be good to go. All right guys, well, I'm on a test drive and it's running good. No more misfire. So it ended up being number 3 coil and number 1 coil that were bad. We swapped those coils from the back to the front first for process of elimination, and the misfire changed from the rear of the engine to the front. Swapped those 2 coils out and now it's running good, so we're good to go. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button below, please. And remember, with Fix It Phillip, you can fix it. See you next time.